Hello and welcome to today's lesson about division facts and extensions. First, let's talk about some important vocabulary words and terms you will need to know for today's lesson. Our first word today is dividend. This is the number in division that is being divided. So for example, in this problem, 36 is our dividend. Our next word is divisor. This is the number that divides the number, which is the dividend. So this is the divisor, and it is dividing our dividend of 36 in this case. Next we have a quotient, and this is the result of dividing one number by another number. So for example, the quotient in 36 divided by 4 is 9. Our final word today is multiples. This is a product of any number and any counting number. So for example, the first 5 multiples of 7 are 7, that's just 7 times 1, 14, or 7 times 2, 21, or 7 times 3, 28, or 7 times 4, and 35, or 7 times 5. A really easy way to remember the difference between multiples and factors is with multiples you are multiplying to make a bigger number, and with factors you are dividing to find a smaller number. Let's talk briefly about some extended division facts, and this is basically just dividing with numbers that have zeros on the end, making them larger numbers. Let's look first at the number 63 divided by 7. 63 divided by 7 equals 9. But what is 630 divided by 7? Well, it's relatively easy. It looks a little bit intimidating, but all you have to do is focus on these first two numbers, which are found up here in this problem, and think about dividing those first. 63 divided by 7 is still 9, but since there's a 0 on the end of this number, we also have to add a 0 to the end of this number, making 630 divided by 7, 90. What about 27 divided by 3? 27 divided by 3 is also 9. But what is 270 divided by 3? Well, that number is also going to be 90. Thinking about that same strategy we talked about up here, when we had a 0 to the end of a number, we really still just have to look at the math fact numbers at the beginning and then add a 0 to the end to account for the extra 0 on the end of this problem. Let's do one more. Let's think about the number 20 divided by 5, which equals 4. But what now is 2,000 divided by 50? This is going to equal 40, and here's a great trick that you can use to help you figure this out. It's the same idea as what we looked at over here on this side of the screen, but in this case we are going to mentally knock a 0 off the end of each one of these numbers to make them a little bit easier to deal with, and now we have 200 divided by 5. Same rule goes, we're going to just think about 20 divided by 5, which we set up here was 4, and that's where we got this 4 from. And then since we had 1 0 left over, we added a 0 to the end, making our answer 40. So 2,000 divided by 50 is 40. We will do some more practice with this tomorrow in class, so don't be worried if you don't totally understand it tonight. This next part is about renaming numbers. Sometimes with our math, you are going to be asked to write some different names for numbers. So in this case, we're going to use the number 68. And we're going to think about some different ways that we can name this number. One example is that we could name it 63 plus 5, which equals 68, so that's another name. Let's look at 63 plus 5 and see if we can break that down into any other pieces and maybe add a multiplication part in there. 63 broken down into some of its factors is 7 times 9. If we add 5 to that, we will once again get 68, I'm sorry. Let's also look again one more time at these numbers right here, this number specifically, number 9, and we know that it's not a prime number. It's an odd number, but it's not prime, so it does have factors that multiply together to make it. So if I put 7 down again, I know that 3 times 3 also equals 9, and then if we just simply add that 5 in there again, we will come up with 68 again. This is because 7 times 3 is 21, 21 times 3 is 63, and 63 plus 5 is still 68. We could also name this number using subtraction. So we could just make it 70 minus 2, and that also equals 68. There are many, many ways to rename the number 68, and there are many, many ways to rename quite a few numbers. So just do some thinking about different operations and different ways that you can achieve the number that you're presented with, and renaming numbers will be simple. Now let's move on to talk about some mental math strategies for doing division in our heads. Sometimes you're going to be asked a question like this, 42 divided by 3, and you're going to be asked to use mental math to figure it out and not a long division strategy. There are a couple of different ways to go about this. The easiest one is to simply think about what numbers that are smaller than 42 does 3 go into. And off the top of my head, I can think of 30 as a number that 3 easily and evenly goes into. If I take 30 away from 42, I am left with 12. So I have to make sure that 3 also goes into 12 evenly, which in this case it does. So when I divide 30 by 3, I get 10. And when I divide 12 by 3, I get 4. And when I add these two numbers together, I get 14. If you do the long division, or you do the division just on a calculator at home, you can check my answer and see that 42 divided by 3 is in fact 14. Let's look at another number. Let's say 99. I'm going to try that one more time. It was gigantic. 99 divided by 7. So what are some numbers that 7 easily goes into? I know right off the top of my head that I can pull out a 77, because 7 times 11 is 77, and I can also pull out from that 22, which is pretty close to a multiple of 7. It's not quite exactly, but it will go in 3 times with a remainder of 1. Now when I add these together, I'm again going to get 14, but this time I'm going to have a remainder of 1. Again, because I knew that 22 was only divisible by 7 3 times. 7 times 3 is 21, which makes a remainder of 1. If you check it on your calculator at home, you can check to see if I'm right. Here is your practice problem of the day. Use mental math to figure out what 83 divided by 6 is equal to. Break 83 down into 2 different numbers that you are comfortable dividing, and make sure that you express your answer with a remainder if there is one. Good luck!